It says his rating is 1983. I have it on a good source that he's actually 2030, and he's climbing. I saw him yesterday playing in a simul against Irina Crush, and just watching the way he moved the pieces. I had finished my game, and they had a clock on the table. He did not want to draw. He was supposed to get a draw. He didn't want to draw. He said he'd rather lose than draw. He put a clock on, and he played her blitz. And just watching a few of the moves he was making, the way he moved, made me realize that we had an extremely talented player on our hands. He lost that game, but he asked her if he could come play her blindfold today. And so between rounds, he went and played her blindfold, and Irina said he went 18 moves, played some brilliant moves, but then forgot the position around move 18. She then played in blitz, and she said there were a few games he had her busted. We're talking about a 2,500 player. She had to finagle the wins playing blitz against him. So now, him at 4-0, I see him as the clear favorite in this game. I'm telling you, this kid is a beast. His father said that he reads chess books simply all the time. He plays blitz all the time, very savvy, knows his way around a computer. So watch out for this kid. Remember the name Patel. In a few years, I'm going to do something special. But that said, in one game, on the championship, anything could happen. He is playing against an expert player, Gregory. And we see Jonathan Clinton pull 3 or 4 rabbits out of hats to win his game so far. I'm going to say one thing that I think I mentioned this in the past year, that all chess players could be relatively divided into scientists and fighters. Some are studying chess seriously, using chess books, software, and so forth. But then when they play chess, they make a mistake and they feel like they just lose interest to the game. Okay, I made a mistake, I deserve to lose. It's almost like that. And there are some who are maybe not like tedious students, but tremendous fighters. And so Jonathan Clinton is clearly one of those. So he doesn't know too much about openings. He plays quite passively very often.
All right, we are going to announce the trophies for the 7 to 9 non-rated section. 7 to 9 non-rated, head over for the trophy ceremony.
But at the same time,
thank you.
When it comes down, the final part of the game, with very few seconds on the clock, he starts playing quickly, confidently, he wins all those games so far. So it's a real big set when you look only at his moves and his performance in those games. It looks like, he's not as good a player as he's ready to be a kid, but those fighters, that's how they play. They make a lot of mistakes, but they come on top at the end of the game from lost positions very often. So that's life. That's the guy you want on your team. Somebody who can take a punch, take another punch, and still survive. You have a lot of students. I've seen many prodigies over the years. They're talented, they're tactical, they see a lot, but the first time they get hit in a big tournament, they think that really hurt. Then they go back and they play another talented player and they get hit again. And all they need to do is just keep on going. They're so talented, they're going to be great players. But they don't like getting hit. You can't take that punch. And a piece of them goes every time they lose a game, and a piece of them goes, and finally they say, you know what, I don't really care about this game that much. Those players go by the wayside. They're talented when they're young, but they just can't stick with chess. But it's the fighters, the ones who maybe not be so talented. I put myself in that category, quite honestly. I started chess at 14. I'm saying I'm a gifted prodigy. I love the game, I love to play.
Yeah, we'll go there.
You beat me, I was coming back. You beat me, I don't care how bad I felt, I was coming back to you.
But I want to hear his comments.
No, but you can have his comments.
Yeah,
You're right.
Goes to the grindstone. Well, it pays if you're talented and a fighter as well, of course. Now, you can't have it all. But it's just amazing how much personality you need in chess. Because many people think about chess as just kind of, just a game of mind. But it's not only that. I mean, personality in chess is huge, because you have to keep high concentration in a period of long time. Like, for example, kids here, they play 30-minute game. It doesn't sound like a long game. But first of all, they play 5 games on one day. This is extremely exhausting. It's so much mental energy that you need to spend. I'm not talking about physical energy, which obviously is very important. So you have to be tough. It's not enough to be smart or a good chess player. You have to be tough. So over the years, I've seen lots of extremely promising young players, sometimes geniuses, who didn't make it just because they were not tough enough. And that's put chess right next to many physical sports, many athletics that we see on TV.
All right, let's just quickly get to the chess position we have right here, Gregory. White has played a London system, a system you can play against just about everything that Black does. So something that if you don't want to study too much theory, you just bash out these moves, and you see this bishop on f4 is really a sign of the London system, and also this move h3. Black has sort of just played a basic setup against it as well. Maybe not perfect, could create some weaknesses in this position, especially with this move b6 and then trading on d4. You know how I feel about trading, and this trade I don't like pretty much at all. But it still is a chess position with a long way to go. And White has given pause here, thinking about what to recapture with, but he has no choice. He has to recapture with the pawn, because if he recaptures with a knight or a queen, the pawn goes 2 squares up, and we call it the four, where you attack 2 pieces at the same time. So, again, Jonathan Clinton is just wasting his time, finally with the pawn. But he should make a move like this in 2 seconds, because there is no choice. Again, it seems to me that very often he thinks ahead, and he forgets about the fact that it doesn't matter what's going to happen ahead. You just have to do what you have to do. All right, so he has a spatial advantage, just White. Solid position. Black has to figure out exactly what to do with his bishop on c8. Bishop b7 could be met at some point by the move d5, preventing the bishop from getting any life on the long diagonal. So Black's probably a little worse already, right?
I mean, it's unusual in the sense that we usually see Jonathan Clinton having less space, getting down positions, but here, since he has white pieces, so he's all right.
Okay. And now bishop to b7 has been played. Bishop beaming down on this long diagonal. As we mentioned, d5 might create some long-term spatial bind on the position, and so Black's going to have to be pretty ingenious to get out of that position. He's going to have to make some really nice moves. Lots of time on the clock. They're both at 25 plus, so lots of time. This could really be the game of the tournament right now, because these two have played extremely well to get to this point, and it's all or nothing. The champion will be crowned right in this game. So beautiful last round setup. It's nice that they both have 4 as well. I don't anticipate any draws. The way Patel played against Irina, remember, he was playing in the simul, playing against an international master, 4-time U.S. women's champion, and they said it's 9-15, should be a draw game, and he said, "What? I don't think so. I want to play."
Okay, but what if at some point he's worse and Jonathan offers him a draw?
I don't think this kid believes that Jonathan can beat him in any position. That's what I think. He's got swagger. The kid's got it. You can just look at him and tell. He's got it. So I'd be shocked to see a bailout of a draw in this game. Also, they'd have to worry about other players on 3.5 who might catch them. So I don't know how many players might have 3.5, but that would totally ruin your tournament. You go, he thinks he can beat Arena Crush, blindfolded. He thinks he can beat this expert. And both of them will gain tremendous rating points, confidence if they win this game, for sure. So Bishop b7, White is now doing his typical thing, Gregory, thinking on a basic position. I mean, He can play D5, he can play rook E1, he can play rook C1. Make a move, dude. But we've seen him get out of this situation before. I think he's doing it up against the wrong kid this time. But I said that last round too, and he managed to win the game.
I just want to show you how this D5 move gains a lot of space for white. So once again, space is a number of squares you control on the board. So for example, you know, if your knight covers this square and this square, this is 2 squares. So as more squares your pieces cover, as better your position is. So when white plays this move D5, he gains a lot of squares, a lot of space, because not only he gets, for example, this D4 square for his pieces, but he also cuts down this bishop on D7 coverage, and so the number of squares that black covers is reduced dramatically. So this is a really good move for white.
Could be played instantly, but he's playing the move rook E1. Another good move. Can't complain. Not the move we would have played, but certainly on our top 5 list.
Yeah.
Right? Certainly on the top 5 list. Rook E1. So won't complain about that move. He's trying to pressure his pawn on E7. Maybe make it very difficult for this pawn to advance to E5, which would be a very natural break for black in this position. So black has to check, see what he can do to get out of this little bit of spatial disadvantage he has. He himself can play rook E8, he can play rook C8. Rook C8 might be an interesting move here, setting up a slide threat of playing bishop takes knight. If you take back with the bishop, rook takes pawn, winning a pawn. So rook C8 might not be a bad way to go right now. I think a very natural move.
I'm thinking knight H5 maybe is interesting. The idea to play E5
E5 as well. That's definitely as well. So, you know, we try to guess the moves. We give you our suggestions about what we think. You play D5. You play D5 instead, which deals with this bind. And looking at that, top 5 too. Definitely top 5. Black is now competing for that square, that D5 square, preventing white from playing that move. Maybe black realized, yeah, D5 would be in some trouble, so let me play this move myself. I like the move.
I like it a lot.
In fact, I like it better than my suggestion. It solves a lot of issues. That might be the best move on the board. I like it over your move too, Gregory. I'm sorry to tell you. I like the move. It's a good move.
Yeah, in general, in the middle game. So at the start, the principle is very simple. Bring your knights and bishops out castle. So they both done that. And now there is a stage which we call early middle game. So at this stage, the center is the most important part of the game. 4 of those squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you usually try to do something on those 4 squares. And so with this D5 move, he improves his bishop in the center, and of course he stops white from playing this move, which we discussed earlier. So very good move.
Very good move. And what I like about it is the lack of bias. This is something you find in the great thinkers. He had already played the move D6 early. So to play D6 and D5, it feels like you're wasting time maybe. But that's not in his head. All he thinks is, wait a minute, the guy plays D5, I might be in trouble here. So let me play D5, even though I already played the move D6. That's good thinking. That's a good thinker at work. Great move. And I think the first move that's been played all day that neither one of us noticed, and when it finally happened, we thought was better than our suggestions. I didn't think any other move, any time a kid played a move like that. So kudos to this 10-year-old Gregory. My goodness, 10 playing moves like this. The clock times show an advantage for black after D5, and white's got to be a little concerned because he might have to deal with an isolated pawn after this capture.